After update, the last operation that we want to focus on is the delete operation. For that, we will be setting up our API method so that it can be consumed by the React application. I'll just show you over here how the delete query is going to work in SQL. Whenever we want to delete a record from the table, we need to make sure that we are giving the where clause. Otherwise, this particular query, delete from property listings, is going to delete the entire data. So that means when we are giving a clause, we need to give a check on the unique identifier. And again, the ID column is playing the role of unique identifier for this query. If I just say that I want to delete this fifth record, then I have to mention the ID over here. And by running this query, I'll be able to do so. So that means ID is the main column over here, which will help us to delete the data. And this is how we are going to set up our API method. So let's go to the property listings controller in .NET Core solution. I'm just taking the help of this function over here and pasting it. Now this is going to be an HTTP delete operation. And over here, I just need to change the method name. It has to be delete. Now, which particular request parameter should I expect? If I want to delete the data based on ID itself, I do not require the entire record over here. I simply have to accept the ID in this particular API method, and that should be helpful for me to delete the record. It's going to be int ID. Now over here, what we have to make sure is that we have the particular record in the table for which the ID is being sent. That means if the record is not existing for, let's say, ID 10, at that time we should not be performing any delete operation. Only if an ID is valid, that is existing in the table, we should be able to delete the record. So over here, I'll just have property listing record, and what I am doing is using the DB context from the property listing. I want to find the record which is existing using the ID. So basically, if this record is a valid record in the table with the given ID, then I should be doing a delete operation. That means if this record is null, I can set the return message as record not found. Otherwise, what I should do is I am using the DB context again, and from the property listings, I want to remove this particular record. This is the record that was found using the ID that was sent as an input parameter to this method. If the record is not found, at that time we are setting the return message as this, and if the record is found, then we are doing the delete operation, and let's set the return message as well. Record deleted successfully. Otherwise, we have a technical error message as well if there is an exception occurring. So I think this should be good because we already have the response message over here being sent as a JSON. So this should work. I'll just save it and we'll run the solution. But before that, what I can do is I'm using the same response model in delete, update, and add method. So let me do one thing. I can rename this particular class and let's have it as response class itself. I want to rename the class as well. So over here, I'll just do response, and then that can be used in all the methods over here. So while we are building our solution, we get to make some updates also according to the requirements that are changing. I'll just save this and run the solution now. So now you're able to see that we have got our fourth API operation, that is the delete operation. And we can try it out as well. It is simply accepting an integer of name ID. So what I'll do is I'll just give the value over here. From this data, I want to delete the fifth row. So let's go over here, give the value as 5, click on execute. Hopefully everything should work and we should get the response message as successful itself. And yes, it says the record is deleted successfully. How do we make sure that it is working fine? We go to the table again and I'll just click on execute. So you're able to see that we have deleted the fifth record successfully using our dotnetcore web API, where we are implementing entity framework. After this, we'll make the connection from the React application to this API.